I know you guys are obsessed with this. I'm not. I'm really not. It's just, it's not that big a deal. Just because press runs around and writes about it both here and nationally, I know why that is, and so do you. Let's not pretend.
Let's stop pretending. That's Governor Chris Christie. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. And what he's talking about is a scandal, if you will, involving a traffic detour around the entrance to the George Washington Bridge in New Jersey that took traffic through the streets of Fort Lee, a city right there at the foot of the bridge. And the rumors are that it was done because the Democratic mayor of Fort Lee did not support Chris Christie in his re-election effort. And just let me play you one soundbite before we get to our guest here. And this is cut 28. Let's go to cut 28.
He was not somebody that was on my radar screen in any way, politically, professionally, or in any other way until these stories came out in the aftermath of the closing.
All right, so that's what he's saying about the mayor. Joining us now to help make sense of all this and where it may go is Paul Mulshine, columnist at the Star-Ledger. Good to talk to you again, Paul.
How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing all right. All right, so I've seen Christie on the defensive here. I've seen him choose his words very carefully over the past few times he's talked about this. I've seen him mince his words. People have been fired who are involved in this or who have quit in the Port Authority who might know things about this. They've now lawyered up in anticipation maybe of state hearings that will be undertaken over this. How big a deal is this, and could it be traced back eventually, do you think, to Chris Christie?
Well, it's a very big deal because John Wisniewski, the Assembly Transportation Committee chair, he's a pretty sharp lawyer, and he's got ambitions of moving up. So he could, use this as a Watergate-style inquiry to make his name statewide, possibly run for governor next time around, that kind of thing. And he's got subpoena power. He can get Bill Baroni, who resigned from the Port Authority, Dave Wildstein, who's this Christie crony who also resigned from the Port Authority, and the mayor. Now, the mayor, what people don't know about the mayor is...
The mayor of Fort Lee.
The mayor of Fort Lee used to be a Republican. He only recently converted to Democrat. So it would make sense for somebody, in light of how the big landslide that was developing for Christie and all the support he was getting from Democratic mayors. Obviously, all those Democratic mayors didn't do it on their own. Somebody asked them to support Christie. So once this guy has not said whether he was asked or pressured. He shut up immediately after the scandal broke because he's in a very dicey position. He's, number one, he doesn't want to tick off Christie. Number two, he doesn't want to tick off the Port Authority, which does all kinds of things in his town.
And we should point out for the folks around the country, the Port Authority runs the crossings from New Jersey into New York City, including the George Washington Bridge, the Lincoln Tunnel, and the Holland Tunnel. Okay.
All of which have a toll of $13, by the way. They don't really...
Yeah, I pay it every day. Thank you very much.
And so there's tons of money coming in, a huge patronage agency, and all this, it's very political. So it's not unlikely that somebody pressured the mayor to support the governor. Now, what's crazy is that they then shut the bridge down because the resultant traffic jam, I don't know how anybody could have thought that it wasn't going to come out that they did this for no reason.
But Paul, here's the thing. Now, the excuse is that they did tell me if this is from the Port Authority or from the governor's people, I forget. But they're saying, well, we were conducting a traffic study. Now, nobody knows about this. Nobody's seen this traffic study. The governor has said he did not see the traffic study, but he believes that there was one, and he's not going to investigate it because yesterday he said, I'm not a prosecutor anymore. I'm the governor. I have more important things to do. So that's their excuse for putting the cones up to divert traffic away from the bridge into Fort Lee, which caused 4-hour traffic delays for people. So was there a traffic study? And if it turns out there wasn't, I mean, then that's a big deal.
Well, at first they said it was a traffic safety study. Then they said it was a traffic flow study because 3 lanes go in, and they said that was they were unfairly helping the Fort Lee people. they don't seem to have any written documentation. If you do a traffic study, you're supposed to have all sorts of parameters and so forth. That Wisniewski has subpoenaed the documents to see if there's anything in the documents supporting this being a traffic study.
Right, and that's planned months, if not years in advance.
Sure. Yeah, and Christie at the press conference yesterday, and he made the rather amazing statement that, well, no one has proven that there wasn't a study,
yep.
which is like proving a negative is impossible, you know. Right. But, I mean, that was a very curious position, you know. He used a lot of passives yesterday. He was very, everything, mistakes were made mode. Now, I don't think Christie himself, you know, would have his fingerprints on this. And, you know, and it's entirely possible that this guy Wildstein, who's a bit of a character, he used to be a... And
that's who? That's the mayor?
Wildstein is one of the two guys, Port Authority.
Okay, who quit? Yeah, okay, Port Authority guy, yeah.
He set up the leading political website in the state, Politicker NJ, back in 2000, working under the pen name Wally Edge, a former governor of New Jersey, and was actually quite successful. Was a pretty good pundit. He was a lot of fun to read, and nobody knew it was him. For 10 years, he covered his identity for 10 years.
Wow.
And he knows all the political trivia, and he was fun to read. But then he went to the Port Authority. He went to high school with Christie.
Right.
So he's a real Christie crony. Went to the Port Authority, and he just could be. He apparently was a little Napoleon, going around ordering everybody around and being a real pain in the butt. He could possibly have just done it on his own. And if he did, you know, and falls on his sword for Christie, then that's the end of it.
Right, right.
But if it comes back to somebody in the campaign or somebody in the administration, Christie's got a lot of explaining to do, and it will definitely come out. Wisniewski is determined to subpoena everybody.
Right, and that's the New Jersey State Legislature. We will see, and we'll follow this, and we'll have you back definitely, Paul, because I want to know what happened here, too. Paul Mulshine, columnist for the Star-Ledger. Merry Christmas, and thank you for joining us, sir.
Good Christmas to all, a good night.
All right, take care. All right, folks, we're coming back with David Solway, Canadian poet and essayist who didn't have a lot of time with us the other day. He'll have more time in a minute. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.